Is why didn't they take the deal? Why didn't you take the deal, Ms. Williamson?
Well, today, still today, I'm innocent. I'm not going to take the deal of being accused of something I didn't do.
And the thing that I think the world needs to understand about Angela Williamson, similar to Ms. Cotman, is she's been through this 3 times. 2 times she was exonerated. So to go through this again and to go against the same evidence that you've heard 3 different ways, 3 different changes from all of these witnesses, it's just proof to the strength of her character that Ms. Williamson is not going to admit something she did not do. And she just wants the world to know that.
Yes. What are your feelings going into the future? I mean, years of appeals maybe, possible prison time?
I have 2 small children. I have a daughter and a son. And I do have their future to think about. But I know my daughter told me, Mom, you're innocent. Don't stop here. For me, go on. My family has said the same. My 13 brothers and sisters have said the same. And I'm going to go on. My lawyer, who's been so very supportive of me, there was a moment where, yeah, I heard those years, and yes, it did frighten me to death, yes. And just the short moment, again, as my co-defendant has said, being handcuffed and then shackled and told at that short moment of what I had my decision to make. And yes, I was afraid. But again, what my daughter said to me, I'm going to stand strong and move forward.
When you think that you might have to leave your children at some point and actually go do your time,
and that's
what goes
extremely hard to do. But again, I must move forward.
And I think, again, what the world needs to understand about Ms. Williamson, as well as the rest of the defendants, this is about their principles. This is about the things that they went to school for, the things that they educated children about, that we're not going to give up our principles based on a sentence threat. And I think we've mischaracterized this as a plea deal. It was a sentence threat. At no point was there any negotiation, nor was it open to negotiation. And it still involved incarceration. So why would you, when you're incarcerated, facing more incarceration, give up your right to say this incarceration is unjust? That's just not right. That's not the American way. And that's why Ms. Williamson and the rest of these defendants are going to maintain their innocence, because in this system, innocent people still go to prison. You've seen examples of it. It should stop, and it's not right, it's not fair.
Ms. Williamson, for those of us who have never been to jail, just tell us what it was like.
Believe me, it was not peaches and cream as being handcuffed and shackled, being confined in a 4x4 room. It was hard. It was difficult. I mean, the freedom that I once had, I didn't have within those walls. Being very supportive of the women that I was with, we prayed daily. We gave praises to God. That kept me strong. Calling my family, my husband, speaking to my husband, speaking to my children, my siblings, and just family and loved ones, that kept me strong, and definitely with the faith of God. It was, my son had left to go on, had gone on a field trip to Rock Eagle. And when the verdict was given that day of me being guilty, and then handcuffed and shackled, that was devastating to me. My kids were in school. I didn't have that opportunity to let them know that I wasn't, coming home. If I was just given a chance a day to go home and just prepare my kids, that would have been a little help. But I didn't get the opportunity to do that. And my son, again, he was away on to Rock Eagle, and was excited to see me, and I was even more thrilled to see him. But I didn't have the opportunity to do that. And I just feel that just is stolen from me. And I would never, ever forget that. Never, ever.
And I think what you know, a lot of you have asked, well, this is about the children. This is about harm to children. With regard to Miss Williamson, there was no harm to children. All of her children were excellent children who excelled in her class, who excelled after her class, and who continued to excel. The evidence in her case is she had the valedictorian, the salutatorian at a local Atlanta high school. She had another student come in who was an AB student. So this is not about the children. And I would say to the district attorney who has not put his remediation program forward, it's still not about the children. What this is about is labeling educators as racketeers. And that's very, very dangerous. If you sat in the courtroom for 7 months and listened to each witness contradict themselves and contradict the other witness, you cannot believe that this happened to educators. And now they're sending educators to prison. That's just not right.
But it's interesting you say that, because this jury has been lauded as so intelligent, and they were so meticulous and watched everything, and they came back with guilty verdicts. How did this jury get this wrong?
I don't know, and that's the question for the jury. But as a person who sat in that courtroom and listened to one witness say the sky was blue and another witness say the sky was red, and we all know both of them can't be right and both of them can't be wrong, I'm not sure. When you listen to a statistical analysis where the guy can't even add, that's a problem. When you can't tell how a bubble sheet is really a bubble, that's a problem. So, I mean, when you listen to the totality of the evidence and you go back through the transcript and you read about one child saying one thing, another child saying another thing, and completely different child saying something completely different, and you come to this conclusion, I don't see how that's justice. The reasonable doubt is just what it says. It's a doubt based upon a conflict in the evidence, and it's a doubt based upon common sense and reason. Common sense and reason tells you the sky can't be red and blue at the same time.
Okay, and just in response to that question a little bit, of course, during the course of a trial, we as lawyers know, there's evidence that comes in the courtroom that you hear, and there's evidence that you don't hear. So there are many issues about what was allowed in by the judge, what was not allowed in by the judge, what juries were charged at the end of the case in terms of what the law was and what they should not have been charged, what evidence was admissible and was not admissible, and these are the broad issues of appeal that we expect that the Court of Appeals to hear. And that is one of the reasons why these persons did not want to take what was offered to them, because there are so many issues, which we won't go into today, but there are so many issues which we believe a Court of Appeals will deal with.
Ms. Williamson, your attorney just said that some of your students were highly successful and are highly successful right now. Have any of those students reached out to you in support? And
No, I have not heard.
Actually, I've received several emails from those students, and there's been media articles by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution from those students that call for no jail time for Ms. Williamson. So the question and the answer to that question is yes, they have. And several of them came in to testify on her behalf. When it comes to Ms. Williamson's children, I can emphatically say that she did not hurt a single child.
have you felt that way, Ms. Williamson, from those students? Have you spoken to any of them?
Maybe 2 or 3 I have, former students. And again, piggybacking on what Attorney Griggs has said, they still believe in my innocence. They know I did not hurt them in any kind of way. They believe in me, and I thank them.
Can you think about one in particular that you would like to talk about?
No.
No, we're not going to go into, especially on live TV, we're not going to name names, that'd be a problem. But what I think Ms. Williamson would like to let the public know, she's thanking everyone for the outpouring of support. This community has been divided, but they've been united on one thing, and that's educators should not go to prison. So we would like to thank the community for standing up, coming to the rally. We had 800 people come to a rally. We had 35,000 people sign petitions stating that educators should not go to prison, and I think that has not been reported. The fact that this community did not want to see educators go to prison, that's why Judge Baxter had that epiphany, because he was receiving those messages. You had Andrew Young come in and say educators shouldn't go to prison. You had Bernice King come in and say educators shouldn't go to prison, but yet educators are still going to prison. That's a problem.
The next person you'd like to talk to?
Can I don't want to belabor, but I thought I heard Judge Baxter say that Ms. Williamson had more evidence in the trial against her than any of these other defendants, that she was a cheater.
And what did I say in response to Judge Baxter? I said, Judge Baxter, respectfully, I've sat through this 3 times, and I've heard witnesses say it 3 different ways on 3 different days about 3 different chicken biscuits. That at no point did a witness come in and not contradict themselves, and there were actually children in Ms. Williamson's class in both two.
By Ms. Copeland? Oh, no. No, we're doing great. Come on. Okay. It's really fair for everybody to speak because the public needs to see who you guys are.
Mm-hmm.
So, ma'am, why didn't you take the plea deal?
Because I'm innocent. And as I stated before, I would not compromise my integrity for anyone.